To welcome you for the 13th Zoom meeting organized by Bharatiya School of Management and Entrepreneurial Development, part of Bharatiya University from Coimbatore. A warm welcome to all the participants, and also it's a pleasure to welcome Dr. Rupa Konaseelan, Director in Charge from BSMED, and also Dr. Venkatapati, who has taken time to attend this meeting. So before I introduce the speaker, I'd like to give some background information about the meeting and also about myself. Then I'll introduce the speaker and then we'll go to the topic. So India is on lockdown since 24th March. So it's day 18th of the lockdown. It's been a very difficult time for all of us. People are living at home and it's a difficult time and very uncertain. People are uncertain and there's a lot of anxiety and fear. So this meeting started with a small idea from Mr. Yasham Shankar, the president of BSMD Alumni, on 29th March. So his idea was, we have to keep physically distance because now social distance has been implemented across the world. We have to keep physically distant, but we can still stay socially close. Let's do something together. That was his idea. He said lockdown is an opportunity for us to unlock our potential by learning from each other. This idea was floated on March 29th, and since then, we have conducted 12 sessions so far, and some of the sessions were organized by our past and present professors from the university, and also by alumni from different domain experts. And these programs help us to connect with each other and also expand our network and refresh our mind. So some of the topics that we have conducted so far include topics from health, wellness, hobbies, personal development, leadership, HRM, and also about business continuity plan. So we started on 30th March with the photography, and then business continuity plan, then about book publishing, then dynamics of leadership, and how to regain your wealth and protect yourself by changing your water, green HRM. And on 5th April, we had a wonderful session with our Professor Ramki. He's a retired professor, and most of us have not met him for the last probably more than 2 decades. So it was a great opportunity for us to interact with him over Zoom. We had alumni attending from across the world. Then we had topics on stock market and about NLP intervention. And we had a session on Tamil by Siddha physician, Coronavayum Kadandu Povom. That was a wonderful session. And the number of participants was more than 100. So we had to open it up and did it on Facebook Live. And yesterday we had a session on restart your business with 5 years. So we have completed 12 topics, and today is day 13 with Mr. Sriven Naidu. And the topic of the day is practices to improve our life satisfaction. So this is a background about the program, what we have done so far. And I'd like to introduce myself, and I'm Muthukumar, and I'm from class of 2000 BSMED. Initially, I worked for a .com company for 2 years in Mumbai, and then I switched out to medical devices industry. I joined Johnson & Johnson Medical in year 2002, and I worked with the J&J Medical for over 12 years in different cities in India with the marketing and sales leadership role. I moved to Singapore in 2013, and I've been working here with the medical devices companies from Singapore, handling the business development for Singapore and also for other Southeast Asian countries. It's been a wonderful journey, and currently I'm in a transition to a new role to a medtech startup company. I'll be joining them after the lockdown is lifted in Singapore. So this industry has given me knowledge and also expertise in medical devices. It's a good industry to be in to learn the latest technologies. So that's about me. And now it's time to introduce our speaker, Mr. Sriven Naidu. Was born and brought up in Singapore. He is a true Singaporean. He is an alumni of INSEAD Singapore. And he worked as a deputy director with the Ministry of Education Singapore for over 6 years. And he was handling the policy decision making for higher education. And he also served as a deputy director of strategic planning with the Singapore Management University for over 7 years. So Sriven has developed and delivered leadership programs for businesses and universities in Europe, India, and across ASEAN. In the past 2 decades, he has taught at University College of London, Singapore Management University, and also Lee Kuan Yew School of Public Policy. He has been a consultant to Capital Land, which is the largest public listed company which is into real estate in Singapore, and also for a few family-owned luxury resorts in Indonesia. He focuses on awareness for functional leadership, and also for organizational resilience. I met Sriven at Singapore Management University for an introductory talk on mindfulness-based strategic awareness program. That was 6 months ago. And I became a good friend of him. And currently I'm a student learning this program for the last 6 months. So thank you, Shivan, for taking your time to attend this program. And over to you. And there are some basic instructions for the audience participants. So we will have the session from Shivan for maybe 20-25 minutes. And you can ask questions, keep your questions towards the end, and please unmute your audio and video when you would like to ask questions. And once again, a warm welcome to everyone. And it's a pleasure to have all the professors from BSMED and also from alumni from across different parts of the world. So we have over 50 participants as of now. So thank you very much for everyone, and over to Mr. Shivan.
Thank you, Muthu. I hope everybody can hear me. Thank you for joining me this evening. Welcome to all of you. And first of all, thanks to Muthu for the kind introduction. Welcome Dr. Rupa Gunasilan and everybody else who I haven't met yet. Muthu is a participant from a program that I do that runs over 8 weeks. He first met me at a talk I gave for the Royal Society of the Arts, a 200-year-old organization based in the UK. That time it was almost 2-hour talk. But today I neither have 8 weeks nor 2 hours, I have 25 minutes. So please bear with me as I try to give you a flavor of my approach to helping all of us in our constant struggle to be better people, both at work and in our private lives, right? I will focus on a practice or the practices to change our behaviors. I will only briefly talk about theories and concepts, but we can talk about them more in the Q&A session at the end if you like. So I'd like to begin by talking about positive psychology. Most of us first heard about psychology from someone like Freud, who was looking at people who are not functioning well and trying to fix them. But positive psychology looks at people who are functioning well and tries to make them even better. So Muthu, could you help show the slides on the 24 virtues in action? So a group of positive psychologists have identified 24 virtues in action or character strengths that seem to be good ways to enhance our well-being. So I talk about subjective well-being or lifetime satisfaction and not happiness, because happiness means different things to different people, right? And these psychologists have identified 24 virtues in action. These will be distributed to you in a slide after the session. But there are 24 of them, right? And you can see them there. Wonderful. Those are the 24. You can look at them. I've blocked out 4 of the virtues that have the biggest impact in predicting life satisfaction. These include gratitude, curiosity, love or relationships, and zestfulness or enthusiasm or cheerfulness in the present moment, right? So there are these 4 which are among the strongest predictors of lifetime satisfaction. So think of lifetime satisfaction as at the end of your life, we ask you, were you happy with your life? Would you like to live this life again? And how much you would agree with that statement. Subjective well-being is more like right now, are you feeling satisfied and happy with your life, right? So these 24 virtues in action contribute, all of them contribute to your lifetime satisfaction. The 4 that I mentioned, which is curiosity, gratitude, love, relationships, and the 4th one, zest. These 4 have the strongest prediction on your lifetime satisfaction. So I won't talk about love and zestfulness too much today because it seems that these are determined more by your childhood and how your childhood experiences were. It's easier to influence your curiosity and your gratitude as an adult. Now, I'm not saying you can't become more zestful or have more loving relationships as an adult, but that's a separate topic which will require a separate lecture. So let's talk about curiosity and gratitude first, right? And in times like now with COVID-19 and lockdowns and reduced social interaction, these are challenging times. But the Greek Stoic philosophers, as well as Eastern traditions like Dharma, say that challenging times are an opportunity to build your personal character and become stronger people and inspire the people around you. There is a very popular book in the US called The Obstacle is the Path. If you like, you can go read it up. It's full of stories about how people took challenges as an opportunity to discover their strengths and their special purpose in life. Right? So let's begin with a practice before I go into too much theory. I would like you to join me in a little breathing exercise. Sit comfortably.
Shivan, can I put the video, your video? Can I stop
Yes.
this screen?
Yeah, you can put my video on. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Thank you, Muthu. I'd like to invite you all to join me in a breathing exercise. You may wish to sit comfortably, nothing on your lap. Close your eyes unless you feel happier keeping them open. Begin by resting your weight evenly between your feet and your sitting bones, the part where your backside touches the chair. Aligning your head, your spine, and your hips. Not too stiff, still relaxed, but in line. Perhaps you may want to bring your chest bone towards your chin, slightly. And now, focus on your breath. Don't judge it, no need to change it. Just notice the 5 sensations of touch, smell, taste, anything related to inhaling and exhaling. I want you to adopt an attitude of curiosity. Notice how your breath is today. You may focus on your abdomen, moving in and out. The smell of the air, whether it's cool or warm. And sense if your chest is tight. And I want you to slowly breathe, slightly slower than you normally would. Just a little slower. And notice whether you're taking in more air or whether you're just moving the diaphragm a bit slower to take in the same amount of air. Just notice. Just slightly slower than you normally would. Now, if your mind wanders to some other thought, not about your breath, gently bring it back to your breath. Notice the sensations in your stomach, in your chest, perhaps your shoulders. Being curious, not judging, and accepting your breath as it is right now. Now, in this slightly calmer state, I invite you, keeping your eyes closed, I invite you to think of someone who you are very grateful for having in your life. It should be someone who's still alive for this exercise, someone who you're very grateful to have in your life. Once you have that person in your mind, I want you to be specific about something they've done for you that you're grateful for. Go beyond saying they're helpful or they're cheerful and give a specific instance of something they did on a particular day at a particular incident that you feel grateful for. Ideally, it's something recent. If not, it can be something in the past. It can be big or small. Now, I want you to capture this feeling of gratitude and how it feels in your body, how it feels emotionally. And now, take 3 breaths and close and open your eyes. So this exercise in gratitude is very special. Gratitude is one of the most powerful of the virtues. You can experience gratitude anytime. You don't have to wait for something good to happen. You can do it just by remembering something in the past. It doesn't have to be a person. It can be an event. Some people are grateful for nature and walks in the park or the sunrise or a full moon. Me and Muthu had a session, one of our sessions at Muthu's suggestion, we had it at the beach on a full moon night. It was great. So you can be grateful for many things. And one of the practices that makes your life better is to keep a gratitude journal, right? A physical book, not online, where you write every day 3 things you're grateful for. It doesn't have to be a person. It can be something that happened or something you noticed, even your good health. Write every day 3 things you're grateful for. And sometimes when life is challenging, you can go back and look at the many, many things you have to be grateful for. And it should give you a source of positive energy and help you get through the difficult times that you're going through. So if you have any questions, keep it for the Q&A. I'm sure you would have some by now. But let me proceed with a bit more of the explanation. When we were doing our breathing, I was asking you to be curious and have acceptance of your breath as it is. Let me use the example of yoga, physical yoga practice. Later when you see the slides, there's a picture of somebody touching their toes, reaching for their toes, but I'm not asking you to do yoga necessarily. A not so good yoga teacher will tell you to touch your toes. And then either you can or you cannot. And then you feel lousy if you can't touch your toes, if you cannot touch your toes. But a better yoga teacher will say, move your chest towards your thighs. Notice where it is tight. And any movement is considered success. And you will learn something by your effort, as opposed to feeling like you've succeeded or failed. So similarly with the breathing, anytime you want to, your breath is there. You can slow down, breathe slightly slower, not much slower. You don't have to make a big effort to breathe deep or breathe super slow, just slightly slower than normal. And pay attention to the 5 senses. Because when you are paying attention to your senses, you cannot be caught up in your thinking and your worrying. So this gives you a nice break in the middle of the day, anytime you want. Research shows that the average American used to breathe 10 to maybe 15 breaths a minute. Today, they're breathing 20 to 25 breaths a minute. So it is probably a good idea to slow down a little your breathing so your blood pressure, your heart rate, your brain waves can realign to a more peaceful state. So I'm about to end this practice. Remember I said, keep a gratitude journal. Think about people. Yeah. Think about people who you're grateful for. Think about other things you're grateful for and keep a journal. Writing it down with your hand seems to affect your brain more than if you typed it out on a computer. And having a book that you carry around gives you something to look at once in a while. So before I end this session, I want to emphasize that being grateful is a good thing, right? It's good enough if we remember to be grateful. But one step better is if you express your gratitude to the person you just thought of. So I invite you after this session to maybe write a handwritten note or give a phone call to this person and say thank you. Not just for being a great person, but specifically say, on this day when you did this, it made my life easier or it made me smile, and say thank you. Appreciation is different from praise. Now there's a whole lecture I can go into about the difference between being specific about what you're grateful for versus just giving a praise like you are great or that was nice. Being appreciative gives precise feedback on to the person about what you appreciate them for and what they might want to do more for you. We benefit by making each other happy. That's why this session is titled Practices for Our Lifetime Satisfaction, not my lifetime satisfaction, because we are interdependent. And by practicing these virtues, the 24 virtues that Muthu showed earlier, by practicing these virtues, we make ourselves happier, but we also make other people happier because it uplifts them, it inspires them. And these virtues are defined in a way that people will not feel jealous of you, right? They're defined in a way that people are not jealous of you. It makes you happier and it also makes other people around you happier. So on the slide, I've circled the website where you can go and do a free survey and they will tell you which of these 24 you are particularly strong in. It doesn't mean the lowest rank in the 24 is a weakness. It just means which of your strengths is stronger. And there's another session I do with Muthu and his cohort mates where we talk about how to use your strengths to overcome certain challenges in your professional or private life. You'll be surprised, virtue like perspective or zest can be used to solve a sales challenge. It doesn't just have to be social intelligence that you use for a sales challenge. It's very versatile what these virtues can be used for. You'll be surprised. So I invite you to go to that website, look at some of the articles, and do the search to find out for yourself which are your strengths. I hope this has been useful, and I'm happy to take questions now. Thank you, Muthu. Thank you to BSMED for organizing this talk.
Okay, thank you, Sriven. Over to all the participants, and you can unmute your audio and video, and you can ask questions with Mr. Sriven. And I'd like to share my personal experience with the gratitude journal, and which was introduced by Sriven in the session that I'm currently undergoing with him. So we started this 2 months ago, just before the COVID situation became worse. And we were actually quite happy to see that this journal actually is helping us to see good things in our daily life. Even though that could be a smaller thing, it helps us to see there are many good things happen in a day. And I introduced this session, this gratitude journal, to my son, who is currently in secondary 1. It's a 7th standard we call in India. And he is also has been writing this gratitude journal for along with us every day evening. We write it as a family and then we share within ourselves. And it was quite interesting to see some of his points. So I can share some of things that he wrote. One day he wrote that as soon as he came to the bus stop, he could get the bus. Even though that's a small thing, that's a good thing for him because he doesn't need to wait for the bus. And then other thing is when he went to the canteen to buy his favorite food, it was still available. So those are small things which gives happiness to small boys. So, and if you take our example in our daily life, we are very grateful for many things. For example, during this time, having a good Wi-Fi network, we should be grateful for, because that helps us to be in touch with our family back home and also with everyone. So this journal has been helping me personally to see good things, even though if it's small. At the end of the day, when we sit and write, we actually forget all the bad things that happened. So we try to recollect what good things happened for the day and then write it. And it's nice to see after a few days about what we wrote. It's a wonderful experience. Thank you, Sriven.
Thank you, Muthu.
Yeah. Yeah. So any questions from about the VAA character and also about the gratitude journal?
I think. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, yeah.
Your audio is not clear.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Shivan. I just have one question. When you had asked us to close our eyes and show our gratitude to some person, no? That time we had so many in our mind. We usually have gratitude towards many of our relatives or our close family members or friends. Then suddenly when you said think about an incident, only you said when you said think about an incident, then start thanking. No, everything went blank and we started searching who's that or what is that kind of incident. Just wanted to understand relate to this and place it accordingly.
How to specifically think of an incident when you are grateful for somebody. So, for example, if there's someone at home who cooks for you and consistently cooks good, healthy food that you like, and it's on time, then it's specific to say, to tell that person, I'm so grateful that every day when I come home from work, there's food and it's healthy and it's delicious. Thank you for doing that. So that's the sort of example. Is that clear?
Thank you. No, but then what also happens is when you said think about an incident, there are various incidents that comes into our mind. So whom do we place, or should we give a priority to somebody or some incident and do that, or how would you just leave it to the sequence of incidents and do it one by one? Just wanted to understand that way.
Okay, so this is a great question. I mean, it's natural for us to think about the people closest to us, right? Maybe the people most dear to us is easy to be grateful for. But it's actually also important, if you have time, to think about people who are difficult. For myself, I used to have a weekly meeting where I didn't like to go to because it's my most competitive colleagues who will always have something difficult because they are worried about their KPIs or their performance. And I wouldn't look forward to those meetings. But if I spend time thinking about how I'm appreciative for other contributions they make to the organization, then the meetings become better because I'm in a more positive mood, because I appreciate they are also human beings. They also have challenges. They also have worries. So it makes me more collaborative and more creative when I meet them. Does that help?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
So
nice.
Shivan, I'd like
Thank
to
you.
introduce Dr. Rupa. We met when she visited Singapore, and also Dr. Venkatapati. He was director of BSMED and is currently still continuing with his education and is still in touch with all of us. Thank you, sir, for joining us. Thank you, madam.
Yeah, hello. That's great. Again, we met. We had elaborate discussion. I remember, and I do feel, I need to express gratitude to both of you for giving space and giving a lot of suggestions to me to improve the department and improve the course curriculum, all those things. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm glad it's helpful.
Shall I?
Yes, sir, please.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So your audio is not clear, sir.
Oh, sorry.
Am I audible now?
Now it is clear. Yeah, please
Yeah.
go ahead. Yeah.
RV sir.
Good evening, every one of you. It's a great time to be together again. And maybe for a change, today we heard the positive psychology. And this is one which we have been talking about, maybe time immemorial, but we fail to understand what it is.
Absolutely.
இருக்கான்னு கேட்காத இல்லையான்னு கேட்காத இருக்குன்னு சொல்லு அப்படின்னு தான் சொல்லுவாங்க. That is how even in villages people used to say. But somehow or other we missed it. And maybe a Carl Rogers has to come and say that the fully functioning individual, then somebody from there on to take on to Erickson, a lot of people have many things. Today, maybe it is short and sweet. You are to the point. One thing I missed is, I envy you in terms of talking about how focused you could be. That's really nice. When I have only one simple clarification, when we talk of all this positive psychology, the way we have been reinforced all along, that is the one that stood in front of us. So to change that, maybe some kind of leverages, or maybe sometimes we need to have some kind of orientation, changing cognition. Whether should we really think of some programs, or should we think of people to work on this and make this happen? Maybe as a layman, it would be nice if I know something on that.
So I think I understand where you're coming from. It depends on your aspiration, or what is your hope for yourself. Are you just trying to survive in the world, raise your family, make a living? Or do you want to be the best human being you possibly can be, right? When I teach the course and that I'm teaching to Muthu Kumar, halfway they will ask me, what is the point of this course? And I will say there's 2 points. First is taming your mind. Taming your mind so that you don't get too affected by anger, fear, worry, greed, etc. The second is to transform yourself. But that's only if you really have a high goal for yourself to be a good example for your children, or to be a good member of society, etc. And the test for that, I tell them, is not you think you have transformed. You just go and do your practice and try every day to be the better person until people come and tell you that they notice you've changed, right? So it depends. Not everybody, I think some people understandably are struggling just to put food on the table, protect their families, etc. And I think if you're in that state, that's a fantastic achievement. But if you're comfortable, if life is going well, at some point, the evidence shows that more money doesn't make you happier. You need to find some meaning and purpose and connection with other human beings. And so a time like COVID-19 is great for reminding us that all of us who have it normally very good, we realize this is not all there is, right? Does that answer your question?
Perfect. Maybe only one clarification. The thing is, all along, when we have been told in India, or maybe in most of the Southeast Asian countries, never trust anybody, never believe anybody. When you go to school, you should be very cautious. The person sitting next to you will steal your pen, will steal your food, because these kinds of unwanted negative things that are loaded in us, it's very difficult to overcome, or maybe come out from that, unless we change our cognitions that we could believe people. Is there any specific kind of programs that we could think of for the school children in India, or maybe even college students?
Okay, so I was fortunate enough last December to do Goenkaji's 10-day Vipassana course. It's a fantastic course. It teaches you not to be too attached to anything. So instead of saying the guy next to you might steal your car, they are telling you, don't be too attached to your car. It will go someday anyway, right? So I've heard some colleges, some MBA programs make it a requirement for their students either to do community service or to do the Vipassana course. It is interesting to consider if it should be one part of an MBA curriculum, to do Vipassana and learn how attached we can be to material things. I mean, you need them, you need to feed your family, you need to make a living, but how much we get too worked up about the promotion or about things that may not be in our control, may be making us miserable. So my answer to you is some sort of spiritual practice, right? Some sort of reminder that this world that we struggle with and chase for is important, but it's not the only thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect, and I totally agree with you. I am goaded to go ahead with some more clarifications and maybe some kind of interaction. But these poor children, Aishwarya and Pradeep Kumar, are banging on me to close. So maybe I will come back at the later time when we have some sufficient time or a cushion time. We will do that.
Yes.
Right? Nice talking to you. It's a pleasure hearing you. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And your children learn most from watching their parents, right? So it's up to us to be the examples. Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. Anybody else?
In continuation with Dr.
Share,
Arvind's talk, Muthu, can I?
Yeah. No, actually, I wanted to just give a
Actually,
suggestion.
the negative feeling was always there. See, always when we go outside, right from childhood, we have been told us that strangers you should be careful with, like that. You know, I would like to share a quick experience. When I went to Malaysia for the first time, that is nearly 25 years back, I had an opportunity to meet a business person, and it was just a contact. And after that, he said we'll meet at 8 o'clock, and we were sharp at 8 o'clock there in a restaurant. He said we'll go to his factory in the night, and then we went to his factory. It's a chocolate company. He was a general manager. And after meeting us, I know something, he said tomorrow morning we'll be there, and we'll come and take you around. I was a little bit shocked because it was not a scheduled meeting with him and all, and we were always like looking at as strangers. Look at somebody and going from India, from a different background, to be there. After this, and second day also he was there with us, and I was really shocked. I was wondering what is this person up to and all. This was a real strange feeling I had. In fact, I was bad enough to go and tell him that because 2 days he was with us, and in fact I asked him direct on his face, because we are looking at long-term relationships. These were all taught in our home. So when this was told to us, and I asked him what is your intentions, why you want to take us out? I was very rude. I could really recollect this always and keep telling myself. Okay. And you don't believe that person told me the simple answer which really shocked me actually. He said it will take more than 10 years even to understand a person, and hardly 10 minutes to also understand a person. Okay, I understand that you come from a good family. I would like to interact with you. I would like to have a relationship. That is the feeling I had. And he was so open enough. You don't believe. For the past 25 years, he is a best friend in Malaysia. Okay, this is a wonderful experience I share with people, that you have to be really open and to be clear, and also you should have a kind of an openness, that really helps you to filter. That is a feeling I got. And after that, when we traveled abroad, I've created so many friends across the world, simply because of that learning I had in my life. Just an observation, Sriven, I just want to share with what Dr. R.V. has said. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing.
We have Mr. Lokesh who has a question to ask. Mr. Lokesh, your turn, please.
Good evening, sir.
Hi.
Hi, Lokesh.
Yeah. So my question is about, like as you said, we are detached. More than attaching, I was saying about the detaching, like other ways like yoga, meditation, and other things. We have been following up since long back. But the same thing, we couldn't able to balance the life. That only I asked in the question, right? You are saying that to take the survey, via that survey, we can make the skillful changes. I'm asking the changes from routine to our changes of skills apart from our life, or again by the detaching, can we balance everything?
You say the word detaching. Did I hear you correctly? Detaching.
No, I think the question is after they take the survey, how to make use of it. Correct? Is it Lokesh?
Yes, sir. Because we
Yeah,
are
after they
already
take the
following
survey,
up
how to make
medicine.
use of the survey answers, how to interpret the data. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not so straightforward, but I will try my best here. Okay. So of the 24, some people are strong in all 24. Some people are only strong in a few. So don't compare with somebody else. Just look at your 24, which is your strength and which is not so strong for you, right? Now, there's two ways to look at this. You can either work with your strengths and use those strengths. Maybe it's social intelligence. Maybe it is hope. Use those strengths for your challenges, right? But I, for myself, when I did this a year or two ago, I noticed that most of my strengths relate to my head. And so there are more intellectual strengths like curiosity, creativity. But I wanted for my life more emotional strengths like better relationships or zest, etc. So then I decided I'm going to strengthen few things. I will pick the few things based on the kind of life I want, right? So then I found the friends who are good at certain things, and I decided to spend more time with those friends and ask them how do they see life or how do they react in a certain situation. And by spending more time with them, I believe I've become a bit more zestful and a bit more kind because of the influence of the friends I choose to spend time with. So that's a large part of how to use these strengths. The other thing is to actually remind yourself of your strengths whenever you're facing a challenge and see how can you use those strengths to overcome the challenge, not in some standard way that somebody else does, but find your own way, your own special way to overcome the challenge.
Thank you, sir.
It's a bit of your strength and also choosing one or two things to strengthen if you find your non-strengths are not you to go. Well said. Thank you.
Hi, next in line we have Mr. Pradeep Kumar Chokan. Hi, your turn, please, Mr. Pradeep.
Yes, thank you. And this is Pradeep, class of 2014. First of all, thank Sriven sir to render his session for BSMED alumni. And I also thank our Shankar and alumni and other faculties to organize this meeting. So while Sriven sir, while you are talking, I was having this question in my mind. So nowadays people are talking about what is your objective or goal of life. So they simply say, or they simply consider this: I want to be happy, or I want to get satisfied in whatever I do. So what is the question I'm asking is like, if our objective or is to be satisfied and very happy in life, so it comes to our process. Whatever we do, so we want to be happy in whatever we do, or we want to get satisfied in whatever we do. So ultimately, in practically, that is not possible in all the cases or in all situations. So what I think is, if satisfaction and happiness is our goal of life, then don't you think it will create some rebounding effect, so that we will become more unhappy because we are not happy or satisfied? So what is your opinion on this, having this happiness and satisfaction as a goal of life?
Yeah, so one way to, depends how you define the word happy and satisfied, right? Happy has so many different definitions for so many people. It's the same with the word love or strategy or even blockchain. You ask different people, they will have a different meaning for it. For happy, most people, it means I get what I want, right? And satisfied is I'm happy with what I get. If you put your happiness, if you let your happiness depend on outside things that are not in your control, then sometimes you'll be happy and most times you will not. Because the world cannot make everybody happy, right? The universe cannot make everybody happy. But if you focus instead of appreciating whatever you have, then more likely you can be contented, right? As opposed to happy. And if you say, I choose to be happy no matter what happens, you can. You actually find there are some people who can be happy and smiling or laughing inside even when terrible things happen. It's not that they are careless. It's not that they don't understand other people are suffering, but they know that life is like that, right? We are all going to die someday. COVID or no COVID-19, actually we're all going to die someday. But COVID makes it clear that it may happen anytime. It may happen to anybody, rich or poor. And so that is what's frightening. But in a way, COVID-19 is not very different from normal life. Anybody can die anytime, right? And so I think having a perspective where you are grateful for any good thing that is in your life, any good people in your life, and you try to be happy currently rather than wait for you to be happy after you get your promotion or after you get married or after your children are born, then that is delaying your happiness or your contentment. Why not choose to find things to be happy with right now?
Okay. So if I understand you correctly, you are saying that to take happiness or satisfaction as something result of what we do, not just an objective or goal. Am I right, sir?
I think yes, and I'm saying you can choose to be happy anytime. Right now, you and I, we can say, I choose to be happy now. Even if I'm stuck at home with lockdown, I can say, at least I'm locked down with a shelter over my head. I have running water, I have a Wi-Fi, like Muthu said. It could be much worse. And 100, 200 years ago, what we have today, even kings do not have, right? So we can always choose to be unhappy about what we don't have, or we can choose to be happy about what we have. Keep that choice with you. Yeah.
Okay. So happiness is a choice.
Happiness is a choice. Absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you. Raghuraman, you are next.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Sriven, that was a great session. Thanks for talking about happiness and gratitude. Actually, someone recommended me to read this book, Science of Getting Rich, and I think you also might have read about it. It was written some 100 years ago, and the first and foremost thing that was suggested in that book was maintaining a gratitude journal. Yeah. So when we realize it is so important, I'm wondering, why not this is not, a kind of, insisted or, incorporated in schools and colleges under any of the subjects, under moral or moral science or any one of them. Even the school to which my children go, they have a value-based education, So I'm not hearing much from the school side. Of course, they do prayers and they do several things, but this concept of writing a gratitude diary or a journal doesn't seem to be becoming very common these days. Of course, we hear a lot through all these, coaches and the personal, wellness trainers, etc.
I think one reason that people are afraid of gratitude and gratitude journals is a mistake. They have this misunderstanding that if my children are grateful for what they have, they will become lazy and they won't work hard. But this is a misunderstanding. So there's one story that explains this. 3 different boys with 3 different mothers, right? So first mother has an empty bottle. She wants cooking oil, so she sends him to the market to fill the glass bottle with oil. First boy drops it halfway, half the oil spills out. He comes back and he says, Mom, I'm sorry, the bottle is only half full. Second boy comes back, same thing happens, spills half the bottle, tells Mom, the bottle spilled, but I saved half the bottle, right? So you may think he has gratitude or he's positive. Okay. But the third boy is the correct one, which after he spills it, he comes back, he says, Mom, I saved half the bottle, but I'll go and work now, and by the end of the day, I'll earn enough money to buy the other half of oil for the bottle.
Okay.
So gratitude gives you the hope, the courage to go and work and not be depressed. But it doesn't mean you are grateful and then you be lazy and you sit. Right. But I think a lot of people are afraid that gratitude will make people lazy and not work to improve themselves or study hard. Right? So I hope I didn't give that impression as well. The gratitude doesn't mean you don't work, but at least when things are hard, you still have the energy to work. Yeah.
Correct. That's a good observation. That's a good response. Thank you so much. Because sometimes even the employers or the bosses are reluctant to thank their employees. Thinking that they will take advantage of it and become complacent. Thank you.
Yes. So I think so. If you follow the way I said, give appreciation, not praise. So you tell them why you appreciate them because they did something, they worked hard, and so it's encouraging them to do more of that kind of effort. Right? So you encourage the effort. Don't praise them as a person so that they then become lazy. Encourage the effort.
Wonderful. Thank you.
All right. You're welcome.
There is Suresh in line. Suresh, would you like to share your question? Mr. Suresh Kumar CS?
Hello?
Yes, Suresh, we hear you. Can you please go ahead? Okay, I'm moving on to Dr.
Sorry.
I think he's still online.
Question over here is extremely sorry for it. Sriven sir, of late, I have seen companies have started showing a lot of gratitude towards employees during the COVID situation. And they tell people, like when they started showing a lot of gratitude, something runs into a mind telling that, what is it they're looking for from us? And then slowly, after a lot of gratification comes saying that, after COVID, a lot of things are going to change. The way business is going to happen, and be ready for the change. So with gratitude, they start creating a fear. Should I take it as, okay, the gratification is good, I appreciate them. It is not a fear. It is just a change factor which I have to get along, and it's a passing cloud and things are going to move on.
I think
because till now, this gratification was not part of the company's policy till now, and now suddenly all this started coming pretty quickly. So
I put myself in their shoes, and I think if my employer hasn't treated me well before, but is suddenly treating me well, there are few explanations, right? Maybe the employer has changed and has realized something after COVID-19, or maybe they have some agenda which they're not telling me. When I don't know what's the truth, is it better to withhold judgment, or is it better to assume the worst? I think many times we assume the worst because we are afraid, and the fear makes us behave in unproductive ways. If you are not afraid, you can still be concerned and careful, but it doesn't make things worse. Because just in case the employer is sincere, you won't lose the opportunity that the employer might give you. And I'm also not asking you to be completely trusting and assume all is well, but you don't have to act out of fear. You can be a bit calmer and be self-reliant, like the third boy with the bottle. Say, what can I do? If I am positive and I feel I have resourcefulness and energy, what can I do to help myself instead of relying on the boss? Because I don't know if the boss is sincere or not. Maybe he is. But what can we do to be self-reliant first?
Okay. Going forward with this question, one more thing which comes into my mind now is, of late, I'm just seeing in my own company and in companies where they're all talking about U30. and the people above 35, it's basically a trend where the opportunities of people who are above 35, 40 is being reduced, and they are looking at more people below 30 to come in. And at this point of time, would you suggest basically is the people above 35 trust in their abilities and start moving forward with a very positive mind frame, or you see that there's a shift coming and we got to really shift towards what the U35 or U30 is looking at?
Okay, so I have 2 points to make about this. My job previously was looking at trends and predicting the future. And from years of doing that, I have 2 conclusions. One is, even if there is a trend that above 35s will have less opportunities, it is a general trend for the average above 35. Each individual who's above 35 can be the exception, right? There will always be exceptions, and each person should try to be the exception rather than say, oh my God, there's this trend coming, I'm doomed, right? So focus on the individual's ability to overcome the trend. If they trend. Now, second thing, most trends are wrongly forecasted, and believing in the trend makes it come true. I think the best way to predict the future is to shape it. Take actions to change it to what you want it to be, right? The future is never fatalistic, it's never written and that it can't be changed. If enough people want to change it, enough people over 35 want to change it, they can change it. So looking at the trend is a bit like giving up hope. And looking at a trend is also too optimistic if you think the trend is in my favor and I don't have to do anything. Whatever it is, we have to make strategies and we have to put in effort. So I wouldn't focus too much on the trends and predicting. I would focus on my own efforts and preparing.
Thanks a lot, Sriven. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Dr. Rupa Gunasilan, madam, is in line for the next question. Ma'am, over to you, please.
Yes, Sriven sir, that was a nice presentation. Very, very focused presentation that was. So 24 virtues you were mentioning, and you indicated that 4 are vital, and out of which you started with gratitude. What is the thought process that went into your mind to select gratitude, to go little elaborate? And
Okay.
number 2, does this gratitude has got any influence on other 3 virtues? Could you please shed some light on?
Okay, that's a very good question, and I think you, as a researcher, suspect something which I haven't mentioned. So when they came up with this 24, they guessed that these 24 were the correct number and none of them overlap or none of them is higher than the other. But in research, there's something called factor analysis, where you see if actually 2 concepts overlap or are they related to a third concept that explains them. So they have found that actually, if they redid it all over again, it might not be 24. It might be slightly less, and some are higher than others, and some subsume 2 or 3 different ones. And my guess is gratitude is one of them. They didn't share which ones they felt were higher, but gratitude seems to be linked to many, many others. The ability to experience joy or zest, the ability to improve your relationships if you express your gratitude. So I found that gratitude is probably, if I have to pick 1 or 2, gratitude is an emotional top 1. Curiosity is the intellectual top 1. With curiosity, when good things happen, bad things happen, if you just become curious, you take away the emotion, you might find a creative solution, right? So to me, curiosity and gratitude may be the 2 that are easiest to train and develop. The others is a bit more like either you are born lucky or you had a lucky childhood. That has a bit more of that influence. Curiosity and gratitude, I think, are the most changeable.
Great, sir. Great. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. We have Ms. Sangamitra. Sangamitra, can you please take over for your question?
Thank you, Aishwarya. Sir, it was a wonderful session today. I had a kind of meditation, when you asked us to think about deeply into, I had an experience, not today, not yesterday, much before. I could think of my father who drove 20 kilometers. I am a research scholar. He went all the way to the university to do things for me, to just ask a very small question for me and come back. I only could think about the way he was driving through, and I wanted to pass my gratitude to him. The first thing came into my mind was my father. So the best thing which comes into my mind, or the thing which is not conveyed to him, saying, I cannot go tell my father, you did all this to me today, thank you. No. But
Why not?
now I don't know. Sir, it looked very, seemed, what I am trying to convey now is, maybe it was not conveyed then. Now, after this session, as you said, maybe I will call him and say, when I was asked to meditate, this is the first thing I was thinking about. So I was carrying this for so long, which came into top of my mind. This is a real good exercise, sir. I should thank you, actually.
You're welcome. I didn't create this exercise, but I thank you. I'm glad you appreciate it. You just gave me an idea right now. Maybe we can start something today. Each one of you, when you call and thank somebody, ask them to do the exercise and thank somebody else.
That is a chain of exercise. That
Encourage,
sounds very
right?
nice.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It's a wonderful
For the idea.
session. Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Sangamitra. Muthu, can you please take over for the closing remarks, please?
Yeah, okay. So thank you, everyone. And is there any other questions from the participants? Shankar, you would like to share anything?
Yeah, I'm there, Muthu. It's a good. Should really thank Sriven and Muthu also, both of you, for taking the session very well. And it's a good learning for all of us. And we hope that as we continue the gratitude, that's one way of Aram Sayya Virumbu is what our, could you hear me? Could you hear me? Hello?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what is Aram Sayya Virumbu? That is what our Appayar has told. In that we were very clear that at least we should have that thought. Aram is something which we have to think about first. There are three things: thoughts, words, deeds. So the where we have to put is first is the thoughts. So that gratitude, I think that's what Mr. Srivan has also explained as the way. And if you are able to continue that, that gratitude. And Mr. Srivan, we also expect you to conduct a good full program for us. We will try to fix up something.
I look forward.
That will be a good learning for all.
I look forward to it. Yes.
And being from the peace school, that is one of the greatest advantage, because we have. I would always call Dr. RV as my mentor, because he's a great psychologist as well as a person who really, helps us in many times. And this is a wonderful little area where we have a lot of PhD scholars here, MBA, all around the world. And we also have the students also there now, this community now. It's a wonderful mix, and you have given a wonderful explanation to all of us together. And we really thank on behalf of all the BSFP alumni, faculty, and the director also, students. Thank you again, Srivan, and thank you.
Excuse me, sir. I'm sorry for interrupting.
Yeah.
Sir.
Go ahead, Sangamitra.
Sir, I pass on.
Sangamitra, why don't you talk about yourself, Sangamitra?
Sir, about me. This is not so great.
Yeah. It's a good story for Mr. Srivan as well. Yeah.
No, it's not a story. I had faced a lot of challenges from before. I am doing my PhD now. I am traveling from Abu Dhabi. For past 3 years, 4 years, I've been traveling from here to there. Sir, I wanted to pass on my gratitude.
I can't.
Audio is disconnected.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Now
Yes,
good.
Yeah, just wanted to pass on my gratitude. Actually, we people are sitting at home. We have a lot of household chores, especially at this time. We were actually feeling low, afraid of different things. This platform has made us have a lot of knowledge sharing. We get to know a lot of things, especially today's session. It is, unblocked my mind. By reading the topic, we didn't know it's going to be this helpful. Thank you so much. I should especially thank Shankar sir for creating such a good platform. It is like meeting so many people and coming back home. We always sit inside the home, and especially having this session every day evening. After this, mind is open. Thank you so much. Thank you for all the participants. Thank you very much for creating this session, sir.
It's a pleasure.
That's it. Thank you.
It's all our total effort. I think we should thank all our team for this. And for
sir, excuse me. Sir, I'm sorry to interrupt. We have one Miss Dhanam. She would like to post one question, please.
Yeah, please. After this, I'll come. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, please go ahead.
So can you hear me, sir?
Yes, please.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
I came into this session in the middle of period only. So I observed many things from Sriven sir, and the session which is insisting most is the gratitude. So this was the most important thing in our life, and I learned how to show or how to express our gratitude to our well-wishers or something which they have done in our life before. So this was very wonderful session, and today I decided to thank everyone, whoever made something good things in my life. Especially I want to thank my dad. So unfortunately he is no more, but how can I show gratitude to my father through this breathing exercise, or in some other way. So through breathing exercise only we can show gratitude. Now I think. So actually after recently I lost my son, and I was so depressed. So I just want to come out of the so I'm an assistant professor working in engineering college. So now I'm doing research. So I want to come out of all these depression, and so many negative thoughts were coming. So now slowly and gradually I'm coming out of all the things. So whenever I boost my, or whenever I switch over to some what to say, to improve my designation, or to improve something good to my family, there is huge negative things happening in my life. Maybe I accept that it is karma. So whatever I do and whatever I go beyond to extend my status or level, I mean to improve my quality, and whatever do, some negative sort of things are coming. So I just want to come out of that, and I'll do meditation for 10 minutes. As many said, many things are coming in my mind, and so apart from this, even though many things are coming in my mind, I'm just struggling to concentrate, to meditate, meditate so many views. So this part of gratitude is very helpful to me, I think. So this way I can get blessings of many, and I can overcome all the struggles. And apart from that, just above 40, many are discouraging me. Why you are doing research? You cannot do something else. So many negative aspects are coming. So I have to overcome all these things. Shall I overcome? Because age factor is there. So is there any tips to improve? And I have to successfully complete my doctorate. So can you give some tips apart from expressing grateful?
I'm really sorry to hear about your losses in your life. Those are not small losses, and it's amazing that you're still even doing your PhD. So I wish you all the best. Whatever you're doing seems to be working since you are still coping and functioning. Don't stop anything that you're doing right now, any treatment or therapy that you're going for. I would say that in Asian cultures, sometimes we are compassionate to other people, but we are not often compassionate enough to ourselves. So I think you should, if you feel sad or you feel angry or you feel confused, that's okay. Don't try to push it away too fast. If someone you care about was suffering, you wouldn't tell them to forget it or ignore it and move on. You would comfort them. So the same way, I urge you to comfort yourself and be kind to yourself whenever you're suffering. Don't be too impatient for it to go away. It will take time, but in the meantime, open yourself to as much love and support as you can get. I'm sure there are people around you who are happy to support you. Are you letting them? And then don't be too proud or don't be too reluctant to accept help, because we're all human and we can all use help from others.
Okay, sir. Thank you. So
Thank you,
you
ma'am.
for your wonderful
best.
answer. So hereafter, I will do all the positive things and with your blessings, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Congratulations. Keep it up.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
We have Mr. Karthik Kumar in queue to post his question, please.
Yes, Karthik.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah.
Thanks for the wonderful session, Sriven. It was really insightful, and whatever you told, no, the gratefulness was really missing out in this present world. So we are differently reminded of these things, good old things in our life. But when it comes to the gratefulness, see, people have different opinions. It's the person or the Almighty. So the Almighty might help us to reach the person who is helping us, right? So who should be in first place?
Well, it depends on your belief. I mean, I'm not here to prescribe belief in an Almighty or which Almighty to believe in, but depending on your belief, there must be somebody. I haven't heard somebody who doesn't feel grateful at all, whether it's to the Almighty or to the direct person. I think it's a matter of choice. But certainly, some gratitude is better than not being grateful for anything in life, right?
Definitely. Thanks, Sriven.
Yeah. And maybe on a practical level, even if you believe in an Almighty, saying thanks to the person who he acts through is not a bad thing, right? Saying thank you, it can't hurt to tell the human agent by which your Almighty might act. Yeah.
Definitely. See, it's sometimes when you come across so many people helping us, but when you think about Almighty, we will thinking only one person, maybe any form for that matter, right? So see, gratitude will be very easy to God rather than to different persons, right? So in that way, I was contemplating. That's.
Yeah. So I would ask you, what is your motivation? If you're saying thank you to God because you believe He really is the reason for everything, then go ahead. But I hope it's not because some people are saying thank you to God because it's more convenient than picking up a phone to 10 people or 20 people.
Yes, that's what I'm asking actually. Sometimes actually we may miss people actually who are helping us in nearby, and not showing the gratitude to them. But instead of that, we'll be like people say that we'll be doing so much of good things to the temple rather than helping the people around us. So, like that, we may take in that way.
Right. I think so. In my programs, I don't tell people what to believe or prescribe what to believe, but I ask them to be clear what they believe in and whether their actions are consistent with their beliefs, right? So to be a bit more clear, a bit more aware, but what you choose to believe in is really up to you.
But when you take a person actually, there will be a series of experience with them. Might be good or bad. Actually, when you think about a person, it may not be a good only, but sometimes bad things also come into our mind. Is it possible to take it away from us? Because most of the time, negativity always beyond that positive things. See, when you close your eyes, when we may try to in troubled times, we may tend to think about only bad things. So it is how is it? Because normally it happens, right?
Yeah. So for me, ultimately, the test is what works for you, and what works for you today may not. You may find something better in the future, or you may find that something you did in the past works better. But the ultimate test is not what I or some expert thinks; it's what works for you, right? What keeps you positive? What keeps you doing good things and being effective, right? So that's to me, that's the practical test. Does it work for you?
Okay. Thank you, Sriven. Thank you for your clarification. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Hello.
Hi. Thank you, everybody. We are at the end of the session. Muthu, can you please take over for the closing remarks, please?
So thank you very much, Mr. Sriven, and also all the participants. And we sincerely thank Dr. Rupa Gunasilan and also Dr. Venkatapati for joining us today. And thank you very much for Shankar for starting this initiative. It's wonderful, and we all get benefit because of one person's thought. Thank you, Shankar. Also, I'd like to thank Kanagraj for being a good host and for helping us to set up the Zoom network, and also to Aishwarya for coordinating the discussion with the participants. And I'd like to end this discussion with the two thoughts. One is, I started this gratitude journal a few weeks ago. You need someone to support you to write it on a continuous basis. Otherwise, you will actually drop out after some time. So it is good for you to write with your family member, especially with your spouse and kids. Then you will find it more interesting. Otherwise, you will write for a few weeks and then you will probably stop. That's one thing. And second thing is about the VIA character and the analysis of the strengths. It helped me to identify what I'm good at, and I'm focusing more on what I'm good at instead of trying to develop what I'm not good at. So that will help you to be more aware about how you can utilize your potential in a much better way instead of trying to focus on things which may not work out even if you try hard. So that's the two things which I would like to share. And once again, I would like to thank Mr. Sriven for taking his time on Saturday evening. Thank you very much. And if there is anything else from Shankar, I'd like to have your final word before we close.
Thank you, Sriven and Muthu. It was a wonderful session, and all the participants as well. And tomorrow's session, we are going to have at 7:30. We are going to have Supreme Star Sarath Kumar, who is going to come and address us. He's not only an actor or a politician, but a different personality who's going to give a different insight. So we will know what is it happening now, and then we can have the topic is also Mana Alutharthirku Marundu. So that's going to be about what is after COVID, how we are going to face situations. It's going to be a discussion as well as going to be a wonderful Q&A. The program will start at 7:30. Thank you all, and good night again. Thank you. See you.
Yeah. Okay. So, and I received some good feedback about the photographs on the background. All these photos were taken by me during my walking around Singapore. So thank you.
Oh, that's wonderful, Muthu. You're giving us a glimpse about Singapore, I think.
Thank you.
In fact, one of these days you should talk about Singapore. So you're a fan of Singapore, I know that.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Wonderful.
Okay, thanks.
Good night.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. Be well.
Bye. Thank you.